Let me go to here. Okay, let me go to go live.
I am so sorry, Pam. I got my feet button. What? I thought you were coming through here. I was like, wow.
Why is it? See if it connects and shows. Oh, dang it. Because it should be facing BJ.
Well, I wonder if you have to shut down and shut it back on since you. Sometimes when you unplug and plug it in, you have to reestablish that.
Okay. Let me see what happens here. Just have them wait just a minute. Tell them I'm trying to get the video set.
See, I think that's just too much that way.
Right. Okay. Okay, so it's
okay,
fine now. Yes.
Okay.
So I can turn the camera this way if you want.
Yeah, let's put it.
Okay.
Mix it up. Okay, here it goes.
I recognize that.
This is lagging behind the other one won't lag.
Right. Okay.
Oh, I got it. You go ahead.
Okay. Well, we need to tilt.
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah, I'll watch it until we get it.
Here. You want to look at where it is in OBS.
Yeah.
So we're okay if it's in OBS.
Yeah.
I was excited about the right there. Okay. I'm sure. As it should be. My granddaughter has My grandson. Yes. Boy. Just like, they felt like they were young. Yeah. So he had nobody was video. Yes, but she finished. No. Yeah. Okay. It's Dr.
Yeah. And she's from UT.
Well, actually, she's I have it all on there.
Okay, you got it. Okay. Did you know that our speakers? Paul.
Okay.
Bill just told me when he found out. Oh dear.
Hi. I bet you was
Really wondered if
there.
nothing would be
Oh,
I did see
You know
you
him?
there.
Good.
So, okay.
Hi, I'm John. Yes, ma'am. These are
Someone you say.
Revenue Solutions. We make websites. Thank you. Well, yeah, less than record sales months. So 6 months. I'm glad you guys are. Okay, I'm ready to go. All right.
Hey, I got you. And then
Absolutely, yeah.
the original. I know when I heard the commercial.
I worked at a trade for about 3 years, so.
Oh, I did too.
Okay.
I worked for Trade for 13 years. Where? Who? Trade. Oh, yeah.
Sweet place. Okay.
That's all weird. Something with them, you know?
2,500 employees, I'm sure it's a lot of employees.
I was there when the salt ran bottom out.
Okay.
That closed down.
Oh, got it. They moved it all in corporate.
Well, no, they outsourced. It salt ran outsourced to the data center. So we had 78 servers. Then we had physical virtual, and then moved across to North Carolina. So that kept me on.
Right.
Until they
Some people have found that outsourcing does not really do the job.
Hey, websites for small businesses, we also do graphic design for bloggers. So, small businesses type things.
No, I'm not eating because I got to do this. I'm not going to eat. Okay, so Jennifer can sit with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, they'll warn you. Oh, thank you.
I haven't looked to see how we're doing here.
Did I meet you at the lunches for Tyler?
Hemet, it's on. Hemet can see.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm trying to kind of move laptop a little bit.
It's a neat place.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Rotary Club of Tyler. It's a real joy and blessing to have you all here today. And I just want to thank you for taking the time out of your day, this beautiful camaraderie with some of the most wonderful people in East Texas. And I truly mean that. Give yourselves a hand. Woo! Okay, if you would, make sure that your cell phones are turned off so that you don't get embarrassed during the meeting and get fined $150. That's a joke.
We used to
I think our pianist just walked out, but let's thank Dr. Karen McBee for her fabulous talent. Donating your time and talent to come up here and play for us is really special, and I know we all appreciate it. So, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I do, because I really enjoy it. Let's see. If you'll all stand, Allison Cambray is going to lead us in the national anthem and the pledge, and we're going to sing a cappella today.
Let us face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed as the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Allison. Boy, y'all sounded great. Okay, if you'll remain standing, I'm going to ask Larry Wickham to come up and do the invocation and our introductions today.
Thank you, President Pamela. Let's pray together. Our Heavenly Father, we come today to thank you for this opportunity to be together with these friends, to enjoy this food. We pray that you bless it to nourish and strengthen us. Help us in everything we do, Father, to think about you. Our motto is service above self. We know we've never had a better example than from the life of our Savior Jesus Christ. So help us to follow that model, to look for opportunities to be of service to others around us. Bless all that we do today. We ask it in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Thank you. Please be seated. And I want to take just a moment to say how glad we are that you have come to the Rotary Club of Tyler. We have a number of guests with us today, and we're grateful for you being here with us today. We have some very special guests. I'm not going to put them on the spot to introduce them right now, but I am going to ask if there are any visiting Rotarians with us today. Anybody from another Rotary Club that's visiting as our guest? All right, bunch of homebodies here today then. I know we have guests. David Jones has some, so David, would you stand up and introduce your guest to us?
Be happy to, Larry. I'd like to introduce first, this is Robert Pigeon. Robert and I had a long conversation at the reception last Thursday. He had asked me lots of questions about Rotary, and guess what? Here he is today. So y'all, be on your best behavior. I'm glad you'll have with you guys. Seriously, you've already asked for an application. Thank you, Robert, for being with us today. Okay? Yeah. Our next guest, please stand. This is Mr. Vasquez, and you have just recently come to Tyler. Is that correct? And he is with a communications company and is looking at opening a business here. He already has a business in Chicago. I mean, is you in Detroit?
Colorado.
No.
Colorado.
Colorado.
One of those.
Somewhere in the United States, and is looking, he has a home here. He's looking to establish a business here. So wants to come find out who we are and find out about Rotary. So we're welcoming Robert.
Before we leave that table, I'd like to introduce my guest, Jim Hutchins. Jim's been here 3 times before. This is his 4th and final visit as a guest. He also has a membership application, which he will be filling out so I can stop by his lunch. We're glad to have you, Jim. I think at this middle table in the back, we're all home folks. What about over here in the corner?
I have a good friend, Matthew Roberts. He's part of our Young Professional Network. He's there and met some of us there and still showed up. So, tell a little about yourself.
My name is Matthew Roberts. I'm a real estate agent with Ed Williams. I started this year, fun. And y'all were awesome to at the end, so I'm going to bring out more.
All right, thanks for being with us.
So it's wonderful to see so many members of TYPN joining us for Rotary today. One of those is Katie Hall. Katie works at UT
Northeast.
Northeast.
Oh, not Northeast.
She's the comptroller for TYPN. Last year she was the membership director. So as you make her feel welcome, and she'll join and help run things around here too.
Great. How about over here on this side? Any guests?
Yes, I have my friend Patty. Patty and I have been friends for very long, but she's retired, so she has nothing better to do, and I think she'd be a great asset to this.
Well, I was about to say we're glad to know you have a friend. I'm not sure that's going to hold up. You keep doing this.
And something about Patty, something I can't say about all my friends, but I always learn something from her every time we spend time together. So
wonderful.
Great. Thank you for being with us, Patty. We're coming back to this table later, so I'm going to leave you folks be. What about right here? We're all home.
Yep.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are. Okay. Can I borrow this?
No, we're just a minute. We got one more.
Okay.
That's Pam's guest.
Thank you, Larry. Jonathan is my guest from our TYPN social, and we had a wonderful visit Thursday night. And I want to go ahead and say, well, first, welcome, Jonathan.
Yes.
Okay, you can have a seat. We had a wonderful social last Thursday night at Hobbies on the Patio. It was so nice. I don't know the total number of attendants or attendees, but it was just really, really nice. And it was a beautiful evening, and everything was great. And we sure missed those of you that weren't there, but we had a great opportunity to visit with the younger mind. They had a great opportunity to visit with us. And so I told them, I said, if you would like to come next Thursday to Holly Tree for lunch, come, lunch is on me. I want you to visit our club and see what a great experience it is. So thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Katie. And thank you, Matthew. I knew it. I want to say Matthew Robbie, but anyway. Okay. It's so nice to have you all here today. And they're just representatives of the TYPN, which is supported by the Chamber of Commerce for the young great minds in the area. So if you would, just give them all a big hand because it was fun. Okay, where are we? Susan Stewart, thank you for being such a wonderful greeter today. You really made me feel welcome as soon as I walked in the front door out there. You did a great job. Let's give her a hand. And okay, now for my favorite part of the program, for sure, our own famous Paul Gleiser and This Week in History. Woo!
Well, that was pretty tepid. On the 19th of November, 1863, having been invited almost as an afterthought by a Pennsylvania attorney charged by the governor of that state to take care of the dead following the Battle of Gettysburg, Abraham Lincoln delivered a 269-word, 2-minute speech at the dedication of the Soldiers' National Cemetery in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. The speech contained the phrase, "The world will little note nor long remember what we say here," which turned out to not be true. In fact, the world has little noted the famous orator Edward Everett, who delivered a 2-hour speech that preceded Lincoln's 2-minute address, which now lives in honor. On the 20th of November, 1945, trials of 24 Germans accused of war crimes and atrocities attendant to World War II began in Nuremberg, Germany. The trial continued until October of 1946, almost a year, when 12 of the defendants were sentenced to death. 7 received prison sentences ranging from 10 years to life. 1 was judged mentally incompetent and unable to stand trial, and 1 committed suicide while in custody. On the 21st of November, 1980, a lot of people, you folks will remember this, you might have been among the estimated 350 million people worldwide tuned into the CBS television network to at last find out who shot J.R.
Yep.
That question had entered the American lexicon following a cliffhanger episode of the TV series Dallas in March of the 21st of the earlier in the year. That final episode, J.R. was shot. We didn't know who did it. We learned on November the 21st, 1980, that it was his former mistress and the sister of his wife who pulled the trigger. Anybody remember that? Did you watch? On the 22nd of November, 1963, where were you? On a campaign swing through Texas that included a stop in Dallas that many in his circle strongly argued against, President John F. Kennedy was shot and killed while riding in a motorcade through downtown Dallas. Everybody, where were you? We all, if you were alive, we all remember. On the 23rd of November, 1936, the first issue of a revamped Life magazine hit the newsstand. On the cover was a picture of the Fort Peck Dam. It was the first publication under its new look for Time magazine owner Henry Luce, who had purchased Life magazine out of bankruptcy. On Tuesday the 24th, again, on the 24th of November, again, 1963, where were you? 46 hours and 51 minutes after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, Dallas nightclub owner Jack Ruby shot and killed accused assassin Lee Harvey Oswald in the basement of Dallas City Hall, and he did so on national television. And on the 25th of November, 1783, the British Army abandoned their garrison in New York City, the last garrison of the British in the United States following the Revolutionary War. They'd be back in 1812. Birthdays in the coming week. Today, Larry King turns 87. Meg Ryan today turns 59. Tomorrow, Joe Biden will turn 78. More on that in a minute. On Saturday, Goldie Hawn will turn 75, and on Sunday, Jamie Lee Curtis will turn 62. That's This Week in History.
Thank you, Paul. I don't know if that makes me feel older or younger, but it's always fun to hear what happened this week in history. Okay, now then, if Mary Birch and King Ramey will please come forward, we're going to have a very special introduction.
Hello. We're here today to recognize the Brookville School and their two outstanding high school students. And we have the counselor, Ashley Bauer, with us, as well as infamous Celia Tucker, that's been there forever. Thank you, thank you. And joining, what we're going to recognize the female outstanding high school student first. And her dad, Tom Kim, is with her, and her name is Luanne. She goes by Olivia Kim. And her honors are the following. Olivia was chosen to represent the Brookhill School as the outstanding senior female this year. Her name is Luanne Olivia Kim, the daughter of Tom and Mary Kim. Olivia is an accomplished performer, both on and off the stage. Olivia is a gifted flautist, playing for as long as she can remember, as she entertained and inspired audiences in the community, retirement centers, and Korean War veterans. She is a member of the National Flute Association, the East Texas Flute Orchestra, and has been a featured performer at the Brookhill campus events for many years. Olivia is a member of the National Honor Society, founder of the Youth Praise Band and the Chemistry Club, president of the orchestra, a member of the Brookhill varsity golf team, and a Brookhill ambassador, touring and coordinating activities for prospective students. Olivia has written a book honoring and commemorating the service and sacrifice of the Korean War veterans, and says that her time spent with these fine servicemen has had a profound effect on her life. Olivia was chosen for summer internship at the University of Texas Health Science Center and assists a top researcher in the field of immunology and Macrobacterium tuberculosis. With a 4.0 GPA, Olivia is keeping her options open for college, but knows she will pursue a medical career. Olivia, please come up and we'll give you your trophy. Did you want to say anything? Okay.
And they'll need to stay for pictures too.
Stay for pictures at the end, and we'll get all the pictures, and it's your turn. Okay.
Thank you. Chosen to represent the Brookhill High School outstanding male student is Landry Graves, son of Glenn and Stacy Graves. Landry is outstanding in character, athletics, academics, and leadership. Landry plays on the Brookhill varsity tennis team, is a member of the National Honor Society, the Student Council, the Texas Bank and Trust Student Board of Directors, the Texas Forestry Association, the Chick-fil-A Leadership Academy, and has mastered firing procedures of the cannon at Brook Hill by serving as a member of the Brook Hill Cannon Guard. Landry has been honored with the Brook Hill Heart Award and is a member of the Rotary Young Citizens Club, was awarded the Rotary Youth Leadership Award and the Brook Hill Character Award for the last 4 years. Landry was instrumental in establishing the 3D printers for the Innovation Center, has a 4.0 GPA, and plans to major in mechatronics engineering to be figured out where he's going to school. Mechatronics engineering is a multidisciplinary branch of engineering that focuses on the engineering of both electrical and mechanical systems, and includes a combination of robotics, electronics, computer, telecommunications, systems control, and product engineering. Pretty impressive. Glad you come on out. Well,
Congratulations.
okay. Ladies and gentlemen, please recognize our Rotary outstanding seniors. Thank you.
Landon and Olivia, what an honor to have you two here. I mean, your bright minds and enthusiasm and accomplishments is really so unbelievable and so respected and appreciated by those of us who weren't paying that much attention in school and had to work for 10 years to get anywhere. So it's really nice to have you both here. And because you're so young and vibrant and exciting and accomplished, I'm going to give you 2, and because you're so smart, I know you can figure it out. I'm going to give you 5 Rotary tickets between the 2 of you. And so we have a drawing in a few minutes, and you might just win. So this is for the 2 of you, 5 tickets. Okay. All right, onward we go. I've already talked about the TYPN social, so you know all about that. I want to call on Mary Birch to give us an update on the Christmas parade. Don't try to eat your lunch, Mary. You're too important around here.
I didn't know I was going to be talking about that.
Hello again. This is our, I believe, 5th year kind of running the parade. We combine our efforts with our club, Sunrise, and South Tyler Rotary. And this year, we're going to be doing what they call a drive-through parade. It's going to be downtown Tyler where it always is, but this year we decided to change it to Saturday morning, and it will be for the people attending and participating. That will be from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Saturday, December 5th. The volunteers, which I'm coordinating all of that, all of the volunteers from the 3 clubs will all need to be there at 8:30, and they'll probably have to work and volunteer till around noon. And we've got about 70 applicants.
It was 59, I think, when I looked last night. I'd have to go back and look. That was the last I saw on Eventbrite.
Oh, and then also, wonderful news again this year. We're having the Budweiser Clydesdales.
Well, it's Express personnel, but it's Clydesdales. Yes.
Okay. It's officially the Express Personnel Clydesdales, and having worked this parade now for 5 to 7 years, it was the highlight for me last year, and we were thrilled. They were originally not going to be able to make it. So anyway, is there anything?
Volunteer sign.
And y'all know, y'all
We need
got an
bodies.
email from me. I sent it out this morning, and we'll be having a Zoom meeting and maybe a meeting here at Kimmett's Hotel, because we decided at the table with Dixie and me today that it might help if some of us are physically in the meeting after the board meeting tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay, so the combination of the Rotary Clubs of Tyler support the Christmas parade. We took it over from the city 5 years ago, and I'll have to give Mary a huge kudos because she and Ashley Wilson, who isn't able to be here today, spent I can't even imagine how many hours organizing, getting it straightened out so that it's running so much more smoothly now than when we took it over. Anyway, thank you, Mary. Okay, Salvation Army Bell Ringing Day is December the 10th at the Brookshire's Rice Road in Dillard's, just like it's always been. The sign-up sheet Dixie Walker has, and it's such a fun experience. I always take my speaker, my little Bose speaker, and play Christmas music and ring the bell and kind of dance, and it's a lot of fun. My grandgirls go with me sometimes, my daughter goes sometimes, but we always have a good time, and the whole goal is to let people know that this is a joyful season, and any few pennies or dollars they can give is so appreciated by Salvation Army, who does incredibly great works in this area. And so there's that. I wanted to also announce that December the 1st this year will be Texas Giving Day, and it's Giving Tuesday. And David Jones has an announcement I'd like for him to come up and make. Camp B is, I think you all know about what Camp B is now. Do you not know what Camp B is? If you don't know, raise your hand. Okay, Camp B is a Veterans Resource Center. There's not another one like it in the United States of America. It's a center where veterans can go, and one place where they can go and get all of the things they need to know about what they have earned by being a veteran and how to access it. And it's a phenomenal experience for vets. There will also be an eating area, camaraderie area, a gym, a women's center. It's going to be really phenomenal. It will be quite a feather in Tyler's cap to have it right here. It's located over on Front Street, right by Boshears Elementary School, and it's just phenomenal. So you're going to hear a lot about Camp V, but David has a quick announcement to make.
The quick announcement is Pamela's company is challenging our club to raise $2,500. If we can raise $2,500 to Camp V, then her company will match it. So that will be a $5,000 gift, and we would like to do that between now and December 1st. So on that day, we can have a press conference and have a check presentation at camp, and club members can come and get your picture in the paper. So anyway, that's a challenge from the fundraising committee. I think we can do it, and it's not a very difficult challenge to make. We've been having difficulty determining what type of a fundraiser we can do this year because of COVID. Every idea we came up with was shot down because of bad microphones. So anyway, let's get after this, and we'll be receiving some information via text and the website. So I think it'd be a great challenge for us. So thank you, President.
Thank you, David. Oh, Lisa, you're a doll. Lisa's going to donate the first $100 for the challenge, so that's wonderful. Doesn't take much to get to $2,500. Like a pickle?
I'm going to do one and ugly one.
500? 100. Awesome.
Okay, hang on, please. Well, I'll get
Hang on. I didn't know we were going to get to do this all right here today. That's fabulous.
We'll need to.
Yeah.
See, those that have pledged money, see me at the end of the meeting so I can write it all down so that we can
That's
keep on
all.
track.
Just bring our check.
She's our administrative assistant.
Yeah.
Just bring your money to Holly and maybe we can have it done by the end of the meeting. Wouldn't that be a blessing? Oh my gosh. How wonderful. Woo-hoo! Okay, quickly, the Christmas social will be Thursday, December the 17th at Villaggio del Vino up on Old Bullard Road next to Dakota's, between Dakota's and Bridget's. It'll be from 5:30 to 7:30. Don't miss it. Bring a guest. All my TYPN friends are invited. I want everybody to come. It's always a fun time. And we'll be on the patio with a fireplace, or if you're too cold-blooded, you can, or warm-blooded, whatever it is, you can go inside. But anyway, that's Thursday, December the 17th, and we will not have a meeting next week because it's Thanksgiving. So you'll be missed, but I know you're going to be with your families having a wonderful day. And now, the program next, whenever we meet again, which will be December the 3rd, will be Dr. Mike Tidwell from UT Tyler. And now, if our President-elect Bill Pascal will come forward, he's going to introduce our program for today.
Yeah, that was pretty tepid.
I just said that was pretty tepid.
We were supposed to have today a lady from the Alzheimer's Association come in and talk to us.
But she forgot.
That's just tacky. That is tacky. There's got to say something like that. That's bad. The man that just uttered that comment is going to be our speaker today. The compassionate and sensitive Paul Glasser. I called him yesterday and said, Paul, I'm really in a jam. Our speaker taking ill, and he said, okay, well, he's got something for us. So Paul, come on up here. And I really appreciate you stepping up like this, Paul. Thank you very much.
This is a pinch hit program that I did for South Tyler, and when I did the version for South Tyler, it included a couple of visuals. That file got corrupted. I went to wake it up this morning to do it for you today, and it's not here. It didn't play. Did somebody take my notes? Here we go. So you're going to miss a couple of visuals. Doesn't matter. The topic that I talked to South Tyler about was media bias. And let me disclaim. Let me start this whole program off with the following. About 3 out of 4 people in Smith County voted for Donald Trump in 2016. When we see the numbers, it'll be about that proportion in 2020. Most of us in this room probably voted for Donald Trump. If you're not one of those people, I respect that. A whole lot of this is going to sound like politics, and it's really not. It's talking about the media industry and our national media and the constitutional function that it has, and my belief that it's dropping the ball with respect to that constitutional function. So I want to disclaimer: this is not a political discussion, and it is not intended to impugn anybody's political beliefs or how they vote. It is simply intended to be a discussion of what I, as something of an insider in the business, perceive to be a problem. For the purpose of just setting the tone here, I looked up on my phone the definition of the word bias. It says right here, an inclination of temperament or outlook. And if that is the definition, then it afflicts every living human being. We all have our biases. We all have our temperament and our inclination of viewpoint. We bring those with us to our daily endeavors. Our actions and what we do are driven by our biases. They are inescapable. So you are never going to have a newsroom that is free of bias. I'll tell you what you should have, but you'll never have one that's free of bias. With respect to the political inclinations of journalists, we used to call them reporters, but we're now journalists. They have always, at least for the most of the 20th century into the 21st century, have leaned left. It's one of those professions that kind of tends to draw people who have a leftward-leaning bias. Walter Cronkite was the most trusted man in America, for those of us old enough to remember him. He was fairly successful at concealing from us the fact that he is a left-wing nut. I mean, truly, when he quit working for CBS and after some time had passed, he revealed his politics, and they're pretty far to the left. But he came from an era when news people were expected to look at those upon whom they report with a little bit of a pox on your house outlook, no matter who you are. There was a healthy skepticism of what came out of the mouths of Democrats and Republicans, left and right. There's that famous sign that was up in the Chicago Sun-Times newsroom that says, if your mother tells you she loves you, check it out. We have always had, and it is designed into our way of government, and it is actually written into our Constitution so that this will happen. We have always had a tense relationship between the press, as we used to call it, and presidents of the United States. That tense relationship, in my opinion, is healthy. We want a White House press corps that is skeptical of what comes out of the mouth of the White House press secretary or the president himself. We want to challenge our presidents, irrespective of which party they come from. We want to challenge them, and we want them to know that if they say something, it's going to be tested and checked out. But we had something happen in 1974. This is where I pegged the problem. We had something happen in 1974, a little minor, insignificant, misdemeanor level break-in in an office complex called the Watergate Complex in Washington, D.C. And a couple of leftward-leaning reporters succeeded in taking a president of the United States down. That has been studied and celebrated in journalism schools ever since. And it animates most of the people who want to pursue careers in journalism, particularly the ones that have the talent and the drive to get themselves up to the highest levels and to be in the newsrooms in New York and Washington. Watergate was a seminal event in American journalism, and an entire generation has grown up believing that part of their job is to take down Republican presidents. I started getting really high volumes of serious complaints about an association that my radio station, KTBB, had for 74 years. And that is my affiliation with the ABC radio network, an affiliation that began in 1947. And at the time, when I ended that relationship on January 5th of this year, KTBB was the second oldest continuously extant ABC affiliate in the world, 3 months behind a radio station somewhere in western Pennsylvania. I forget the call names. It's a long-standing relationship. And I knew those people very well because they had facilitated a whole lot of cool things that I personally have gotten to do, my own radio station's gotten to do. I've been to 12 political conventions thanks to ABC. I've covered the election of 2 popes, not 1, but 2 popes, courtesy of ABC. The top guys at ABC at the time, and I'll tell you about that in a second, and I got along very well. We had a lot of respect for each other. And the gentleman that was the general manager, the VP and general manager of radio for ABC News, which is a division of the American Broadcasting Company, a guy named Steve Jones, was, one, keenly aware that almost everybody in his newsroom was a Democrat, and keenly aware that most of his radio affiliates were stations like mine. And he understood that tension, and he understood that problem, and he was supremely attentive to complaints of bias from his reporters. And because I knew him so well, most affiliates in market number 143 don't know the general manager and don't have dinner with the VP of ABC Radio News. I did. It's a long time before you were wide. I've been in the top circles of these organizations. He told me at one point about 7, 8, 10 years ago, tell you what, Paul, you're my ears. If you hear something, call me, because if you're concerned about something, I want to know about it. After 30 years with ABC, Steve Jones left. He moved to greener pastures, and he was replaced by a woman from the ABC Bureau in Washington, a television person who I don't think has ever set foot inside a radio station and wouldn't be caught dead listening to a radio station like mine. I mean, really, she took over as VP and General Manager of the ABC News Radio Network. I had dinner with her in Dallas a year ago last month, and I said, Stacia, here are the emails from my listeners. You just started throwing them out on the table. I have a whole wad of them. They all say the same thing, and I understand that all of them aren't correct, and a lot of them are overly critical, and a lot of these people who are complaining don't grasp the distinction between opinion content and news content, and they expect the news content to be reflective of the opinion content, and I know that's not going to work, but some of these people I've covered in this separate pile here, these people have a legitimate gripe. She said, yeah, Paul, you sent all this to me, and I disagree. I don't think so. I said, well, Stacia, here's the problem. You know, they're the customer, they're my customer, and I'm your customer. And these people, I dismissed this big pile over here. This little pile here is a problem. Well, Paul, look. We know that NBC has gone far left. We recognize that. We know that Fox News has gone far right. We recognize that. We in CBS, we feel that we're kind of down the middle. It said, your real challenge here is to get through the election next year and she's with her lieutenant, her number one lieutenant, when things go back to normal. And then you'll quit getting all these complaints. And I said, okay, by things go back to normal, do you mean that Donald Trump fails to win re-election? She said, yes, of course. And then she went on to describe what happened in the newsroom in Washington on the morning of November 9th, 2016, when the people in the newsroom were literally in tears, and the president of ABC News came to Washington. He came to Washington and went to New York and went to both newsrooms to calm everybody down and tell them it was going to be okay because everybody was just devastated. I said, why are reporters devastated at the outcome of an election they're supposed to be dispassionately reporting on? And she said, well, Paul, you have to agree this was just over the top. I said, well, I think you have to agree that the majority of the people and the majority of the precincts and the majority of the counties and the majority of the states, numbering 63 million people, selected Donald Trump over Hillary Clinton to be president, exactly as the Constitution sets forth. How is that abnormal? Well, Paul, it's just one of those things that just happens in history. It's just, as I say, things will get back to normal, and people, all these complaints you're getting when the Trump people realize it'll all go away. The next morning, I wrote the letter, the 90-day letter terminating my affiliation with ABC. I came back to the office here, sent the letter out. They had to give them 90 days notice. We became a Fox News radio affiliate on January 6th of this year. Let's talk about just generally here what has gone on during the Trump presidency, the treatment of Donald Trump. Here are some things that are absolutely true. No president in memory, in recent memory, that any of us in this room could possibly remember, no president has taken more questions from the media than Donald Trump. During the Obama administration, Obama would go weeks and sometimes months without taking a question from the media. Donald Trump seldom went more than 48 hours. If you can recall, walking out to Marine One on the south lawn of the White House, there'd be what's called the gaggle. People there to cover that. They'd shout questions. He'd stop and answer them. And he boarded Marine One a lot, and he almost always stopped and answered questions as he was leaving, and stopped and answered questions as he was coming back. He took a lot of questions. I would be willing to say, can't prove it, that he took more questions in 4 years than his previous two predecessors took in 16. He has made himself massively available to the media. Number two, No president has been more openly disrespected by the White House press corps. I mean, this is not anything that you can really debate. All you have to do is just, if you watch the White House press room events where the president is there and listen to the way they speak to him, in a way that no White House press corps has ever spoken to a president before, including the White House press corps in 1974 with Richard Nixon. The way that they have talked to him has been unlike anything that I've ever seen. And C, no Republican president has ever dared to call them out on it before this one. Does anybody remember the second debate in 2012 with Mitt Romney on foreign policy and Candy Crowley, when she did something that was so completely over the top wrong and for a moderator at a debate, and Mitt Romney stood there with a smile on his face because, a pained smile. I give him credit for at least being a pained smile, but it was a pained smile on his face because he didn't want to upset the press corps and have them all the hyenas jump on him. Donald Trump has not been afraid to upset the Washington and New York press corps. He has gotten right back in their faces. That has all added together to create undisguised hatred for this president by the Washington and New York press corps. They hate the man, as was made clear to me at dinner in October of 2019, when they just sat there and explained to me that there's no way in the world that we as responsible journalists can live with this president, even though 63 million people voted for him from a majority of the counties and a majority of the states. We have decided we can't live with him. And she didn't use those words, but that's exactly what she was saying. So, that brings us to where we are today. And I'm going to finish this and I'm going to open the floor. My opinion, the most insidious form of dishonesty is not the spoken lie, but rather the unspoken truth. That is the hardest kind of dishonesty to deal with. We have one example very recently of unspoken truth. How many people in here are aware of the Hunter Biden laptop story? How many are not? Some people not. Okay. Hunter Biden took his laptop to get worked on to a computer shop somewhere near his home in Delaware, and then never picked it up. The shop owner there, for his own purposes, got into the laptop, discovered a trove of emails that revealed that Hunter Biden had been selling access to his father's office. His father at the time was Vice President of the United States. He had been getting paid to do jobs that he didn't have to actually do, being paid tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars per month in order to have the cover of being on a board of directors or being a part of an organization, being part of a venture capital fund, in order that somebody from outside the United States, either the Ukraine or the Chinese government, could have access to the Vice President of the United States. And it was the laptop, the emails made that pretty clear. Those emails were corroborated by an associate of Hunter Biden named Tony Bobulinski. All those, and he brought emails of his own. And it was made, the emails revealed that part of the deal was that money that Hunter Biden was being paid, some of it got kicked up to the big guy being Joe Biden, who was at that very moment a candidate for President of the United States. So you have here what would be considered by most journalists a juicy story. You have a candidate who's polling well, who has a good chance of being elected, who appears to be compromised by foreign governments. If you watch ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, read the Washington Post, or the New York Times, or really basically any major metropolitan daily newspaper, if those are your sources, you didn't know this story. They simply didn't report it. They just didn't look into it, didn't ask any questions about it. The few times when Joe Biden would take questions from the media, not a single reporter asked him a question, not one asked him a question. And there is a time in our history where a reporter, no matter his policy, to resist this story. They would have asked the questions, and they would have calibrated their reporting based on the answers that those questions elicited. And they simply didn't ask it. And I can tell you this because I still, even though I'm no longer an affiliate, I still have access to a service called ABC News Call, which is a service to affiliates where you can, all the audio that they generate every day, every minute of every day is being transcribed and posted on a website. It's searchable. If I need audio for a story, I can go online and search Hunter Biden, and everything they have will pop up, the audio. Nothing on News Call. They just ignored the story. We have here now a president who is contesting the results of an election. I think just my personal political opinion, I think he has plausible reasons to contest the election. I think in the end he will fail. I think in the end Joe Biden will be inaugurated on January the 20th of 2021. But nevertheless, there's a story here. All of the media called the race for Joe Biden, mostly on the fourth, some way they're all calling him president-elect. Even my own network, Fox News, is calling him president-elect. I fired off a missive to Fox News. I said, we've traditionally called presidents president-elect when one of two things has happened. When the opponent is conceded, or when a sufficient number of states to equify their electoral results in order to then say, this candidate has 270 more. Those things has happened. I think it's premature to call him president-elect. The person I was speaking to says, I agree with you, but that's not the decision from up here. Nobody called Al Gore president-elect for 37 days following the 2000 election when the race was called in Florida and then withdrawn. The media called it and then withdrew that call, and we hung in limbo. Nobody called Al Gore president-elect. Nobody called George W. Bush the president-elect because he was not yet president. So there's a difference in how they're treated. Here's where all this boils down. The legacy media, as I now call them on the air, are still dominant. I have Democrat friends, believe it or not. Hunter Biden. They don't know about Hunter Biden. They don't know this. They don't know anything's going on with Hunter Biden. They don't know about. I promise you to this day, they don't know that Sidney Powell is giving a news conference as we speak with very specific and very plausible electoral wrongdoing on November 3rd. They've never heard of Sidney Powell because if the only way you know about Sidney Powell is if you watch Fox News or listen to my radio station. The only way you know about the Hunter Biden story, those things, because here's the story. ABC World News is dominant right now. ABC World News Tonight with David Muir dominates the three-way race on primetime news, or the evening news. They have 9.4 million viewers. NBC Nightly News, 8.3 million nightly viewers. The CBS Evening News with, this went blank, not Scott Pelley, she's Nora O'Donnell. Nora O'Donnell has 5.6 million viewers nightly. That's 23 million viewers. The highest rated program on the Fox News channel is 4 million. So they're 5-1. They dominate the most successful cable news network in history. Fox News is dominantly successful in cable news. They still are outrated 5-1 by the legacy networks. They still have an enormous amount of influence on what we see and hear, what people think. And in my opinion, with my biases brought to the table, I believe that they are not doing the job and the Republic is poorer for it. I want the media in the White House press corps to call Donald Trump out when he goes out and says something that's completely over the top, which he does. And when he exaggerates, and when he says things that are clearly not true. He does it, all presidents do it, need to be called out on it. I want them to do that, but I want them to equally do that on the other side. And the problem that we have is, at that same dinner with ABC, I said to the two of them, I said, how much time does ABC, the Walt Disney Company, spend on diversity and diversity training? Oh my God, they said, geez, it's all we talk about. We have to go to these seminars. We have to go to these meetings. We have to read these manuals. We have to sign these papers. All this stuff I just touched a nerve because they spend a lot of time on diversity. I said, we're talking about racial, ethnic, and gender diversity, correct? She said, yeah. I said, what about diversity of political opinion? How much time do you spend on that? And how many of the people in that newsroom would you say ever in their lives ever voted Republican? And the answer is essentially none. And what you don't have in the newsrooms now is anybody saying, my newsroom, by the way, is not a monolith. KTVB, I've got lefties of my staff. I'm not going to tell you who they are.
I know.
But I've got lefties on my staff. But I tell you, there's a little bit of give and take in there when stories are being vetted, and that's what we need. So we have a problem. The Republic is poorer for it. In my opinion, the Democratic Party is poorer for it because you do not have the function of sharpening up their candidates if all you do is throw softball questions at them. So eventually it will inure to their negative benefit. And I don't know if you share my opinion on this, but I'm in the biz, and I'm actually writing checks to consume this service, and it's what I see. I'll entertain your questions. I've got about a minute. Yes.
Okay, I saw this. I don't know if it's anything, but I've noticed that when Biden is up, behind him it says the office of President-elect.
Well, that's his set. That's where he set that up.
Okay, so there is not an office officially.
Not one that exists inside the United States government, but he can, if I were him, I'd do the same damn thing. Okay. I would do that, yes.
When you wrote your 90-day letter of disaffiliating, did you get any kind of pushback?
Yeah, my friend Mary McCarthy, who is an intellectual and ideological soulmate of mine, said, "Well, I'm surprised you lasted this long." And she's the affiliate relations manager. And I forget that I said her name out loud because I tell you, she lives in an environment. If she says out loud what she thinks politically, she'll get hounded out of the place. I mean, she cannot say out loud what she thinks because they'll make it impossible for her to work there. Who was it?
So, what kind of effect do you think the 24-hour news service has had on shifting us to all this BS? I mean, used to you turned it on at 5 or 6.
You turn it on at 5:30 Central Time, and you watch 22 minutes of content from Uncle Walter, or from Huntley and Brinkley, or from Tom Brokaw, or from Charles Gibson. Well, there's a mad scramble for viewership. There's a mad scramble, and the thing that I forget who it was. The executive at CBS, was it Don Hewitt that created 60 Minutes? One of those guys said we made a huge mistake here. The news division here at CBS made a huge mistake, and that mistake was we started making money. And when it became profitable to do the news, then the scramble went on. Let's produce more of it because we're making money off of it, and that has an effect. Yes, sir, Larry.
I'm curious about these new conservative news sources that are popping up. One American News.
I get 5 emails a day saying, "Why don't you get your news from One America Network or Newsmax?" I said, because none of them in the radio business, none of them have the resources to produce 48 newscasts a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year. So and these are basically, those things are websites, which cost essentially, in the scheme of things, nothing to launch. A national news network costs hundreds of millions to launch. So they're not.
My question is, do they have any hope of developing anything?
There's always hope. I don't know what their goals are, but the idea that they're going to unseat these guys with ABC, CBS, NBC with 100 years of experience and infrastructure behind them, not anytime soon. Last one.
Paul, do you envision any change in this insanity?
No.
Anytime soon?
No, I don't. I don't. I just know that I've trained myself. No matter where the report comes from, and no matter whose byline is on it, it's my mother says she loves me. You know, I still got to check it out. I don't believe a word that comes out of anybody's mouth. And if you don't have that level of skepticism, if you don't dig, and if you don't take responsibility for looking on your own, you can't sit on the couch or sit with a TV tray table in front of you eating your TV dinner watching the CBS Evening News and be informed. That day is gone. Never coming back. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Paul Gleiser. It certainly takes a lot of fun out of getting home from work in the evenings and watching the evening news, I'll say that. So now I have to watch whatever crime story that my husband's watching because he won't watch the news. So anyway, whatever. Okay, let's see.
Ace of Diamonds.
Page 3. Ace of Diamonds.
Do you want to draw since Paul's got a ticket?
Sure, I'll draw.
Okay, because you don't have tickets anymore.
This is, everybody buys a raffle ticket, or a lot of people buy a raffle ticket, and we put it all in the pot, and we draw every week, and whoever draws the Ace of Diamonds gets the pot, except for half of it comes back to the club. Yeah. So, I hope one of my kids gets it.
There's 1,387 in the pot with 26 cards.
It's not easy. I can't see it.
You would make me do the trombone, wouldn't you? Okay, last 3 digits is 900.
Really? Didn't look anything like that. 900?
It was actually that extra one and I bought it.
There you go.
Go, Jennifer.
Okay, what you got going, girl?
I've been very successful lately.
Oh, better luck next time. Okay, if you'll all stand and join me in the 4-way test of the things we think, say, and do. Number 1, is it the truth? Number 2, is the spirit of all concerned? Number 3, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And number 4, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you so much for coming to Rotary today. I hope you come back. Adjourned.
Don't wiggle yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, now you can wiggle.